Well, hello there! Welcome back to my channel! My name is Katie, and I like to make pictures, and apparently I also like to make messes, judging by the state of my table by the end of the video. First of all, I'd like to take a moment to apologize for the lighting. I know it's not up to my usual quality. To be fair, I had just moved. I was still kind of figuring out my new setup. You'll actually notice that I didn't include the inking process like I normally do, and that's just because the lighting was actually even worse. After I finished the lighting, I kind of took a look at the footage and added an extra light in for the painting process. So it's a little bit better now, and I kind of cranked up the brightness a little bit in the editing, and I'm hoping to get it reworked a bit better for my Inktober videos. In the meantime, hi, hello, I am back. I guess I should probably stop talking about my life and maybe talk about what I'm doing. I'm just doing a small illustration of the Scarlet Witch today. I've already done my line work with the Dr. P.H. Martin's ink Hicarb black on a tiny brush, and you've also probably noticed that those weird cream colored lines. I put those down in masking fluid so that I can paint over them as much as I like, and then I'll just peel it off, leaving it pristine and clean white lines behind it. So now I'm just blocking in the colors, especially focusing on the balance between the reds of her costume and her skin tone. I just really wanted to make sure that they didn't clash too much before I went on with the rest of the picture, just because I kind of knew what I wanted to do in the background, and I knew that it would probably go with the rest of it, regardless of how the foreground turned out. So it was really important to me that I got that down first and got that color balance perfect. So the past couple months have been absolutely crazy. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably noticed it's been a little sparse lately, not a lot of illustration going up, and I do apologize for that. So the last you probably saw of me, I was working my way through Mermaid. I did finish it, but I ended up doing a lot of it at work. I work in a call center, so I did it between calls. So I didn't actually get to film most of it like I had originally planned on doing. And of course, once I'd heard that I'd been accepted to sell at the Toronto Fringe Festival, I kind of went straight into overdrive to try to push out as much as I could and just get everything finished and packaged in time for the festival. So unfortunately, a lot of them have already been sold, and I wasn't able to get photographs of them, which is a shame. Some of my favorites were sold as well. I will try to take some pictures of the remaining pins though. I ended up experimenting quite a bit with the process as I went through the month, so I'll have to do an updated video of that as well. So June and July kind of ended up being fully consumed by preparing for the Fringe Festival, as well as trying to find a new apartment. Everything else, mostly my art, just kind of got pushed aside as a result. Aside from the lighting issue, the new place is really nice. We're still trying to get everything organized, and we're kind of... It's still a bit of a process, still trying to figure out where everything's going to go. So that's kind of been sidetracking me a little bit. So I haven't been drawing as much as I would like to. I'm on vacation this week though, so hopefully I can get a bit more of that done. I am planning on catching up on Inktober, so we'll see how that goes. Now I'm going in and adding a little bit more form, especially in the bodice. I'm really just kind of focusing on strengthening those shadows and ensuring that I've got nice contrast all throughout. When I was planning out this piece, I kind of went back and forth a lot on how I wanted to do this. My biggest dilemma was that I wasn't sure whether I should do Scarlet Witch as she appears in the movies, or if I should do the classic comic book version. When I was talking to my boyfriend about it, he had a pretty valid point that the original costume was a little bit outdated, It might not be as recognizable as the movie version, just because a lot more people have probably seen the movies than read the comics. So it would have a larger appeal. But the classic costume is just so iconic. And I got into the X-Men comics before I got into the movies. And personally, I wasn't really a huge fan of her design in Age of Ultron. It was just a little too, 2007 for me. I did like it a lot more in Civil War, though, especially since it was pulling from her more recent costumes in the comics. So I ended up taking her original costume, but updating it a little bit. I made it a bit more structural. I didn't even try to mess with those hot pink tights. Did not even attempt it. I knew they would look terrible no matter how I balanced the rest of the image. And now we are skipping ahead a little bit because my camera shut down and I didn't notice. So as you can see, I'm going for a bit of spacey galaxy vibes. I've also got a little spattering of masking fluid in the cape to make some stars. And I've got some salt that I'm putting down on top of the damp paint to just soak up extra liquid and give it that kind of funky space effect. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but my camera just stopped filming after 30 minutes. I can only film 30 minutes at a time, and then it just stops. So when I skip ahead like this, it basically means I got to focus into the drawing and I didn't notice it shutting off. It does make a tiny little click sound, but it's just so subtle I don't usually notice it. And now this is the most satisfying part. Now I'm just peeling off all of the masking fluid. It's a little tricky and with the stars, but for the rest of it, for the most part, once I kind of peel up an edge, I can just kind of pull, and it makes it a lot easier. But the stars were tricky. I just love peeling up the masking fluid to reveal those beautiful, pristine white lines underneath. Just look at that. So satisfying. So nice. Oh, the peel porn. What would Christine say? And now I'm just going in and I'm outlining the white lines of her powers. I'm going in with just a red ink. This particular one happens to be from Liquitex. It's the Naphthol Crimson, and I'm just going around the outline, making it look like Scarlet Witch's powers, essentially. But I'm still keeping the lines within the white. I did purposely paint a little bit thicker with my masking fluid. I'm still keeping the red within those white lines just so that it is still very pristine looking and still very stark. Just because the ink isn't 100% opaque, I didn't want it to get darkened at all by the blacks and grays that I have going on in the background. I wanted it to stay really bright and stark red, especially next to the bright stark white beside it. I really wanted to have that very high contrast. I actually did go in afterwards and I brightened it even more just so that it is extremely high contrast, very stark difference between the red, the white, and then the flowy organic colors of the background. I wanted the magical aspect, her hex powers, I wanted that to feel very, very graphic. And once I finish with the ink, before I scan it in of course, I'll go in with some Prismacolor pencils and really push the values just a tiny bit more. In all my years of art school, I can't believe I'd never used Prismacolor crayons before. It had always been Crayola, because what difference could it possibly make? Why am I going to spend so much more money on a set of fancy pencil crayons? But I was so shocked at the difference. I was so amazed. First of all, I literally found a 24-pack at the Dollarama. It was $4. I almost bought 2 because that is just such a crazy good deal. So of course I took them home and tried them out. But they're just so pigmented. Like, the color is so smooth, and I was so blown away with the pigmentation of it. I started off using it for my mermaid pins, and I was amazed at the difference it made. It just looked so much cleaner, and it was beautiful. I was so excited, and I cannot wait to do more with them because they're just so beautiful, and the quality is so gorgeous. I'm so excited. I'm also trying to use the pencil crayons to push the highlights and create more of an intense light force. I just really wanted her hex powers to cast more of a glow on her, so I'm using both the white and the light pink to kind of create that glow. So I don't want it to be too washed out and too like ashy from the white, so I'm using the pink to kind of brighten it up a little bit at the same time. And here's the final piece. If you like my work and want to see more, you can follow me on Instagram at KTAddison Draws. You can also check out my website at KTAddison.com and my Society 6 store under the same name. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time.